start this video by giving you some spiritual information about how I understand the eclipse within my spiritual traditions and teachings. And then I'm going to give just like some general advice. And then the second part of the video will be a reading that I recorded for the collective just like a few hours after we had the earthquake in New York City just a few days ago. So to get started, I've been studying spirituality and learning about it since I was a small child. And I am currently spirit initiated into a shamanic tradition from my culture that is kind of passed down to me through blood. And so within that tradition, what we believe during this time of the eclipse is that a portal opens for trickster energy. Trickster energy can be really helpful. I'm going to take a little timestamp. Trickster energy can be really helpful because because of the process that you have to go through to figure out what is the truth. That process, if you are present for it, if you're participating in it, it's very powerful. So with that said, this eclipse energy, especially if you're in the path of totality, something I want to make a point about is that I'm in Brooklyn, New York, and we had a 4.8 earthquake at exactly 10:23, so 123 on Friday, just like 3 days before the eclipse. And the western coordinate for the earthquake epicenter was 74.75. So this is telling me that there's like a lot of spiritual energy around synchronicity. There's a lot of spiritual energy like coming through this eclipse, the celestial event, and just around bringing things or highlighting things that are normally under the surface or that we put away. And because this is happening during Mercury retrograde, things from the past, whether it be within this life or intergenerational stuff, or just things that you didn't deal with during a past life, that those things are going to be coming up, and they all will also be transient. So what I mean by transient is that, the eclipse doesn't last forever, but its effects can. So for instance, I guess like you lose your eyesight or something if you look directly at it, or you like really damage your eyesight. So, that moment that you're looking at the eclipse directly is not going to last forever, but the effects of it, if you like jack up your eyesight, that's going to last you forever, And so the things that are happening right now in your life, especially things that feel very extreme, keep in mind that it's temporary. The eclipse only lasts for a little while. The retrograde only lasts for a little while. And what's coming up is what's ready to be processed, because the eclipses don't happen all the time. They happen. We have warning about them, so we can get ready for them. So the things that are energetically ready, that even if you don't realize you've been working on them consciously in like this 3D life, it's very possible that you can be working on it in the astral plane when you're sleeping. Let's see. So I want y'all to remember that what's coming up right now in the collective, it's going to be a lot of unprocessed emotions related to the past. And so this eclipse, it's going to bring us into a place where we're thinking about our emotional trauma. And it's going to feel really extreme, or it can feel really extreme. And so if you watch the reading, a lot of the energy from the card reading is about hermit energy. And hermit energy is like literally staying inside. So like me personally, I will be staying my ass inside during the eclipse, and I'm going to have like my drapes closed or something. I don't know. I'll probably like look outside and stuff just to see what it's like. I might even step out for a minute. But if I step out, I'm going to have my spiritual protection on and my spiritual tradition and my spiritual training. We have a very specific type of thing that we do to protect ourselves energetically. But, just covering your head can be really helpful. But yeah, for the eclipse, I will be staying inside. I'm doing a spiritual bath for psychic protection before that because we believe in my tradition that, through this eclipse portal, um, trickster spirits can come through, and trickster spirits can wreak havoc in your life. Also, help to move your life forward in ways. Uh, what else do I want to tell you? So the eclipse literally changes our physical environment because the moon, in the path of totality, the moon blocks the heat from the sun that comes through for those moments. And so, for instance, the weather can change. The clouds, the water is affected differently because there's less sun to evaporate it, less heat. So, if there's water in our bodies, obviously water is going to be affected in some way because we respond to the sun. Um, so, also, I want y'all to know that I do not, as a person that is spirit initiated, I have been studying energy work and learning and practicing it since I was like 3 or 4 years old. And I have been reading tarot cards and just like divinating since I was like 7 or 8. So this is a lifelong thing. And through my trial and error, I have learned that doing magic or spells or energy work or whatever that might be during this eclipse time is not the best idea. I have absolutely had a number of um, things get a little wild and hectic in my life after I do some sort of like eclipse magic. So I don't recommend it. But if you do, if you're lighting candles or, if you're calling like your ancestors or something, if you are a person who is working with your ancestors who are, not, I don't want to say damaged, but are still healing, this is actually a good time for you. But keep in mind that it will be very, very heavy work. So, if you do magic or energy work, make sure that you are protecting yourself. So, that protection can be oils. Everybody should make sure you're protecting yourselves, but in general, protective oils, teas. So, something like a rue tea is very protective. If you can't get rue, it's my favorite. I've been drinking it every day for a little while now in preparation for this eclipse. Rosemary is really great too as a protector. And stones, I said that, spiritual baths, and make sure that you're cleansing afterwards. So you're protecting your head or just like whatever spiritual protection feels right for you. But also when the eclipse is done, more protection, just some cleansing. I definitely recommend that. Different cultures and spiritual traditions have different beliefs about the eclipse and dealing with the energies during then. So some cultures will bang things, will bang pots and pans or whatever to scare away spirits. It's not my tradition, but I don't see anything wrong with it. I might give it a try myself. And I just really want you to be emotionally prepared, whether you are doing magic and energy work or not. I want you to be emotionally prepared for situations right now that are going to shift quickly, quick changes, sudden changes, but also with the possibility of going back to what it was before, but just like in a different version. So that can apply to your love life, your work life, your school life, your family life, your everything. Let's see. I think that's all the energies I have for you. I'm going to pull a Cosmic Insight card just because I want to, because they're next to me. But the reading, the actual card reading for the collective is going to start right after this. And as a reminder, you can go to my Patreon. And on my Patreon, there are extended, so you can pay $8 for the assign for the whole month, access for the whole month to all the extendeds, and I have new ones every week. So the collective message for the folks that have watched this part is love spell. So I don't know if this means do one, don't. I mean, I don't do love spells. If you're going to do a love spell, do it like, yourself, self love, or, being a loving person or something like that. Um, but don't do love spells on other people. Even if you're like, oh, I feel so bad for them and I want them to. This might be a very specific message for someone, by the way. If you have done a love spell, really think this through, or if you're thinking about it. But even if you're like, oh, this is my parent and I want them to be able to love more, mm-mm, mm-mm. Um, because these love spells are the energy within them can be so unstable that the aftermath, the after effects of what you're bringing in, especially if you're doing it during this eclipse, Mercury retrograde, new moon time, I wouldn't do it. Because that's the thing. Like, and I say this from a perspective of um, having done a lot of energy work or like spells or whatever you might call it, prayers, whatever it is to you, manifestations. Before I was like trained and before I had like spiritual protections around me, and it definitely jacked me up. In terms of like I developed food allergies, like because the physical body without like proper like spiritual initiation, like a ritual to protect you, the body does not, the physical human body does not do well moving in these high energy places or like other dimensions without some sort of protection ritual. So I just want to caution everyone, if you were initiated into a spiritual tradition and you know what you're doing, whatever, just, take what works for you and leave the rest in this reading. But if you're a person who does not have that training, I would be really careful during this time. Oh, cute. And then the next message is pets, getting a new pet or giving a current pet more love. Cute. So if there's an opportunity to get a pet, it might be a good idea for some of y'all. All right. Stay tuned. The next part of the reading is coming up. So the first card we got, in terms of like what to watch out for, or like general message type stuff for the eclipse, is the Hermit, which means stay inside, like I just said, and Justice, and the Knight of Cups, and finally the Six of Pentacles. So what this is telling me is that if you're able to stay inside or have some cover or protection from the eclipse, it's going to bring you to this wonderful place of balance, and it's going to maintain your like emotional, spiritual, energetic like stasis, because the energies from the sun being blocked by the moon, all of that energy wreaks havoc in our like energetic bodies. Because it's not something that it's out of the ordinary. Yes, it is a normal like cosmic event. It is out of the ordinary. So our spiritual bodies have to adjust. When you are able to find a way to maintain some balance, have some protection, your heart and your spirit are going to flow into this really nice place of love and softness and community, and again, just more balance. Let's get some clarification on this Justice card. We've got Strength. So maintain your boundaries, and do the right thing during this time. If you're feeling tempted to, because this other side of Strength is a very positive card, but it can also be a card of extremes of ego at times, I guess, because kind of being like full of yourself a bit, and so you just want to make sure that as you take chances or take risks, find a way to mitigate the potential harm. The Knight is the protector, literally. The Knight literally has like shield and a barrier between themselves and just the world. So make sure you're doing that, because there's a lot of energy for chance, and chance can be a great thing, but it can also be a scary thing. Okay, so let's get some cards on if you should focus on your love life or your money. So as a collective, yeah, focus on your coins. So like the Queen of Pentacles, she is this energy. Anybody can be the Queen of Pentacles, regardless of your gender. The Queen of Pentacles has like groundedness and this reliability that she's going to keep working hard, you know, like at building and creating a stable foundation, a financial foundation. She is a patient builder. She's not always perfect, because as we're building, we make mistakes. We're humans, and that's okay. So then we got the King of Coins and the King of Pentacles. So a perfect pair of working on your bag during this eclipse. So if you're doing any spiritual work, if you are making any plans, make sure that it reflects positively and is protective of your bank account. And let's see. So it's basically the same reading from two different decks, but we got the Hermit again. So stay inside, do some studying, learn, you know, do some Googling, learn, work on whatever is making you money right now, and put your focus there during this eclipse, and let like your emotional side, because here's the thing, the eclipse is this energy that comes out, can be things that we're not ready for, and that makes people respond in very extreme ways, and those extreme ways can be very emotional. And so if you are feeling extreme feelings right now, no matter what they are, whether they're like difficult feelings or easy feelings, whatever extremeness that you are feeling right now, keep in mind that your emotional and spiritual presence within that that thing that comes up means that's like just like with the Queen of Wands, how she always has that ladder to climb up to things. You are climbing up to things with your presence, and that means leveling up in this life, leveling up your spirituality. And so as I'm pulling some or shuffling these oracle cards, the card that falls out is alignment. Yeah, so right now as a collective, we are aligned to build our foundation to protect the earth. So Pentacles is the earth, that's the earth sign. And the fact that I'm in Brooklyn, New York, and I'm recording this a few hours after the earthquake that we just had, that occurred at exactly 10:23 a.m. So 1, 2, 3, and also the coordinates that it occurred at, the west coordinate was 74.75. So that means things are happening in synchronicity right now. So we want to make sure, just like with that alignment, we want to make sure that we're protecting ourselves, that we are cleansing ourselves, that we're staying inside if we can, or at least keep, having some sort of barrier between us and the world. And, focusing on your bag, but also focusing on how we are healing the earth, remembering that we are literally, parts of the earth. Our DNA is a product of evolution because of the earth. And so at this time when there is so much harm and damage coming to the earth, we want to make sure that during this eclipse we don't perpetuate that, and that if you can, you do something to reverse that. And that can look like a lot of small things, whether it be like picking up trash. I know if I go to a natural space where there's cans in like the river or whatever. I'll always, take them out and, leave them by the trash for someone to recycle. But there's a lot of small ways that you can care for the earth. When you could also, if you drive a car every day, maybe use some public transportation or walk or do something different in general. Okay, collective, stay protected, stay present for your emotions, work on your bag, and remember that everything is happening in alignment right now, in synchronicity. So if it feels hard, if it is difficult, it's going to get easier, and you're going to gain some magic through the growth and experiences that you're having right now. All right, see you later.